Eighth graders, you are going to need the white copy of the notes if you're in Miss Faulkner or Miss Goslin's, or the pink copy if you're in my class. This is going to be pretty much just a consolidation of what we did in your previous lesson about the translation investigation, a place to kind of have a little more notes, all right? You might want a highlighter and some colored pens also. Okay, if you are in Group A, then you are taking this probably, hopefully on Monday the 21st, and for Group B, Wednesday the 23rd. At any rate, we are going to talk about translations, which is what our investigation was yesterday, right? So a translation, right, okay, is it one of 4 transformations that we're going to learn about. A translation is just a slide. And so I usually remind myself that I can see them right in here. Slide. Okay. So we slide it left or right or up or down or a combination of those things. And then we have to say, well, how far are we going to do that? Every single point, every point would go the same distance in the same direction. So for this triangle, ABC, all 3 points move together at the same time and in the same direction. So let's say for this triangle, we wanted to move it right 3 and down 5. Okay, I could just take point C and go 1, 2, 3 at distance to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I could take B and I could go down 5 and then right 3. It won't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 a distance, 1, 2, 3 that distance or line length, okay? And the other thing is to think about it as what happens to the value of the coordinates. Well, wherever the x value is, if we're moving to the right, that's in a positive direction. So that coordinate will go 1, 2, 3 to the right, more positive. And then if it's a y value, those are up and down. So if we're going to decrease its value, subtract 5, it means we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now what I didn't mention on here was how I'm writing this. Sure, I'm doing it with a different color, but if I didn't have a different color, how would I know the difference between where I started and what I transformed or translated? And that has to do with this part right down here for vocabulary I want to talk about. The original figure is called a pre-image. And that's always hard for me to remember that we don't start with an image and then transform it. We start with a pre-image. And once we move it, we call that the image. Okay. So the pre-image would just be marked with our coordinates A, B, and C. But when we translate it, okay, every point on the pre-image, that letter, once it's been moved, it will have this apostrophe after the letter. So we call that apostrophe prime. It's not technically an apostrophe, it's a little more elongated, but we call those prime. So this becomes A prime, B prime, and C prime, and that's how we say that. So we know that the prime notation means that is the transformed image. And if it doesn't have those notations, it's the original or pre-image, okay? Okay, so something I want us to think about right here is if we wanted to write the translation or describe it, we could just use words, right? Or we could do this, which is called here, a coordinate rule. And typically what we say is that you started with X, Y as your pre-image, and then you performed a transformation on it, and this is the transformation you're going to do. All the X values are going to go right 3. That's why we're adding to X, because X axis goes left and right. And all the Y values are going to go down 5, which means we're going to subtract. All right. So let's try the sample here at the bottom. Okay, if our pre-image is at -5, oh, my copy's not so great. Give me a sec here. 1, 2, 3, 4, -5, and 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, in our pre-image, we just do the letters. B is -3 and 2, and C is 1 and 1. Okay. Sometimes not knowing where your transformed image is going to be, it makes it hard to decide, well, where am I going to write my coordinates. So sometimes using pencil on this first one is a better idea. So they're saying that we want to translate with this coordinate rule, all right? Well, what I want to write down, maybe just right in this little space here, is just in general. Okay, if we're going to change x, okay, well, when we move left, that's in a negative direction, okay? So that means negative or subtraction sign. Okay. If we want to move right, that is in the positive direction for x. So positive or addition. Okay, increase to the right. If we're talking about y, we could go up, which would be also a positive change, and we would be adding. Or we could go down. If we go down, we're going in the negative direction or subtracting. So when we look at this coordinate rule, what it's really saying is start with x, y, which are all my pre-image coordinates, and then perform this transformation of x plus 5. So we're going to add 5. That means we're going to increase 5. That means going to the right in positive direction. And for the y values, we're going to go down 6 because that's a negative, and negative on the y-axis would go downward, or we're subtracting, okay? So for each of these points, the easiest thing if we're just graphing is just to count that distance. To count 5 in the positive direction for x would be to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6 for y is going to take me down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, I want to label this as my prime mark. B is going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. B prime, because this is my transformed image. And C, positive 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, go right 5. Negative 6 for y means down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is going to be our C prime. Okay. All right, and a couple things to know about this is these then are called rigid transformations. And that just means that it's going to have the same shape and the same size after the transformation. It's not going to get bigger or smaller. It's just going to be moved. It'll look exactly the same in terms of it being a congruent shape, okay? So those are called rigid transformations, and a translation is a rigid transformation, okay? So after a translation, are they congruent? Yes. How do I know? Because all of the points moved the same direction in the same amount or same distance. So it wouldn't change its shape at all, okay? Okay, that should help you. You could leave these out if you think you're going to need them to do your practice activity, which is probably some slides. I'm not positive, but if you have a physical notebook, which you should, you're going to want to keep this in there because you'll probably want to show your teachers that to get some points for these notes. And make sure when you are doing your slides or your activity that you submit that, especially if you're in Schoology. Make sure you're also logged into your Cherry Creek Google account so that you can get that slide made for you, and it'll be available in Schoology for you to submit when you're done. Just keep in touch. Remember, office hours are going to be on Monday. They did change for this week. They're starting at noon now. So contact your teacher if you have any questions or you need any help. Okay? All right, good luck, you guys.